You find it?
Okay, we are live on all our channels.
Ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Gallatin City Council work session for June 23rd, 2020. I have an announcement to make about the electronic meeting, and I'll read it now. Pursuant to Governor Lee's executive order number 16 and number 34, and the need to limit the community spread of COVID-19, the June 23rd, 2020 Gallatin Council Committee meeting will be held by electronic means. The meeting will be live streamed to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the council and citizens of Gallatin. To join the Zoom meeting, dial 1-470-250-9358 or 1-470-381-2552 and enter webinar ID 821-0446-4205. Do we need to vote on this?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kipper, you want to call the roll on this?
Vice Mayor Camp,
Yes.
Councilman Alexander,
Yes.
Councilman Fan,
Yes.
Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Love,
Yes.
and Councilman Overton.
Yes.
The vote is 7-0.
Next, we'll have the call to order.
Vice Mayor Camp,
Present.
Councilman Alexander,
Present.
Councilman Fan,
Present.
Councilman Fennell,
Present.
Councilman Hayes,
Present.
Councilwoman Love,
Here.
and Councilman Overton.
Present.
We have a quorum.
We'll now move on to public recognition. Is there anyone that'd like to speak?
You forgot the approval
We have to
minutes.
approve the minutes, Steve.
Okay, approval of minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All righty. Hang on a minute. Vice Mayor Camp,
Aye.
Councilman Alexander,
Yes.
Councilman Fan,
Yes.
Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Love,
Yes.
Councilman Overton.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
Okay, now we'll move on to public recognition.
Okay, we don't have any cell phone callers except for David Brown. Anyone like to raise their hand and make a comment? Okay, Renee Saunders, go ahead.
Hello, this is Renee Saunders. Thank you for welcoming us to the City Council work session this week. I just wanted to make one comment and recognize the officers who inadvertently needed to be dispatched to my home. I thought they did a fantastic job. They were well at ease and put us at ease when they stopped by the home for an unfortunate, again, inadvertent iPhone SOS. So thank you to the officers. And if you all could pass that along to the chief, that would be fantastic.
He's listening.
Thank you. Kristen, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And Pascal Michelle Javance, do you have anything you'd like to say? Okay, that's everyone.
Okay, we'll declare public recognition over and we'll move on to mayor's comments.
Thank you. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes this evening, not too long. I did tell you last week that I wanted to share some police department information. I think, as we've heard heard from some people, not a lot of people, but from some people, following kind of the outcry around the country. What and I think the chief believes, and some of the others with the police department believe, is that a lot of people really don't know how, know about Gallatin Police Department. They have a general opinion about the police, but they really don't know much specifically about our Gallatin Police Department. So I thought tonight I'd kind of share just a very little bit of information, but some that I think will help you at least start to understand, the public and also this council kind of understand exactly where we are, where we've been, and where we're going, and share some data that I think will make you feel pretty good about our department. And we'll begin by saying that our police department adopted a community-oriented philosophy probably close to a decade ago, and they've been working on that for a very long time and have made great strides. I'll show you some crime data that shows that our data is actually down over a 10-year period. Also, they have worked for many years, I know certainly since I've been here and probably before then too, to attract more diversity to the police department. And we have made some progress with that, but not as much as we would like, but I'll show you that as well. But I have to share my screen here, and I think I can do it. And I'm just going to show you some quick things that I think will give you at least some food for thought, give you an idea that, let's see, slideshow, that our police department has been working for a long time to make things better for our community. I just put these slides together for you today. There's so much information that we could share. I do, before I go any further, I guess just want to remind people that I'm always happy to speak with anyone, and I know Chief Bandy is certainly always happy to speak with anyone. And I hope that our whole community does have faith in our police department. Is always working hard. One of the favorite things that anybody I know says is what Chief Bandy, when he says we can always do better, and we can, and we want to. So that is, I think, very key to all of our success. So I'm just going to start out talking about the personnel in the police department. The graph that you see on the left is actually our service population. The orange represents our Black population. The gray represents our Hispanic population, and the blue is our white population. And then the graph to the right shows our current sworn officers. Realize that the police department, we have sworn officers and we have non-sworn employees. So those are the numbers represented by our officers. This actually breaks it down some. This shows your sworn officers and your non-sworn personnel. We have currently 7 Black officers, 3 Hispanic officers, and the non-sworn personnel, we have 1 Black personnel and 2 Hispanic. Our total census, I think right now at the police department, is right at 100. So that just shows you the number where we are. And it's probably not as impressive as we want it to be for most people, but we have made substantial progress in recent years. And so, and we have jobs open currently, and we would love to continue to bring more diversity to that department, because it is certainly our goal to reflect the community that we serve. This is just a breakdown of all the total positions, 87, 8, and 5. Over the last several weeks, we've gotten we've gotten several inquiries on probably 2 different things. One, maybe 3, some on specific questions related to chokeholds, use of force, and then some related to the president's recent executive order, and then some related to the 8 Can't Wait, which was part, I think, of the Obama administration's better policing efforts. And so this just kind of addresses some of the policies and the questions that I've had asked of me. I'm just in kind of a bullet point form. I'll start with talking about chokeholds. Chokeholds or strangleholds are not taught or condoned by the Gallatin Police Department. Requiring de-escalation, certainly the police department is supportive of that. They use a special skill trained called verbal judo, trying to generate voluntary compliance among the members of the community that they might be working with. Additionally, our officers do complete training for working with citizens who suffer from mental illness, helping them to learn to identify the signs and symptoms of mental disorders and the appropriate ways to communicate and interact with persons who have mental illness disorders. There has been a request with officers to communicate their intent to employ deadly force, and our policies say and have said, this is not anything new, that officers shall identify themselves whenever and when feasible, state what his or her intent is. Looking at these policies, I do want to be clear with you. These are policies that have been long held by the Gallatin Police Department. There was one addition that was made recently as they were going through policies over the last several months. I believe they actually began reviewing back in March, but there's one addition. I'll show you that in just a little bit. Another thing has been asking that officers exhaust all alternatives before shooting. This is actually excerpted from their policy that says police officers must frequently employ a level of force to effect arrest and ensure public safety. It is not intended that any suspect should ever be allowed to be the first to use force, thus gaining an advantage in a physical confrontation. Officers should use only the force necessary to effect their lawful objective. When the use of force is necessary, officers will, to the extent possible, utilize the escalating use of force continuum, which is officer presence, followed by verbal command, followed by soft hand, electronic restraint device or taser, chemical agent, hard hand, ASP, and deadly force. So that is the use of force continuum that the Gallatin Police Department has had for a long time. There is a duty to intervene within our policies, and there's a policy about shooting at moving vehicles or getting in the way of moving vehicles to protect our officers. It says additionally, no officer will intentionally place himself or herself in the path of a moving vehicle so as to endanger himself or herself. Also says that no officer will discharge a firearm while driving or occupying a vehicle engaged in a pursuit, except as a last resort to defend the officer, another officer, or citizens, and that they will not discharge their firearms from or at moving vehicles or its occupants unless the occupants are using deadly force against the officer or another person and presenting imminent threat. We do require that all use of forces be reported. The way that it is reported is that the uses of force are, the reasons for using the use of force are outlined, the levels of force that were used are documented. They are also, this same reporting is also used when there's an accidental discharge of any weapon. The reports include any injuries reported by the subjects, as well as any aid rendered by medical personnel. That report is then forwarded through a chain of command. There is a use of force committee that reviews each use of force, and then those results and that analysis is then sent to the chief of police. This is what I was talking about, was recently added. It says it shall be the duty of all sworn members of the Gallatin Police Department present at any scene where physical force is being applied to either stop or attempt to stop another member of the department when force is being unreasonably applied or is no longer required. Any officer who intentionally or purposely allows a fellow officer to continue in unlawful conduct or fails to intervene may be held responsible for the conduct as if she had applied the force themselves. This is some data from last year. This is the use of force instance actually in 2019. It will give you an idea of how many times we have used it. There were 40 incidents out of 3,648 arrests. It was actually 1% of all arrests. And since 2012, which is where I had the data dating back to, was we have 1% or less of all arrests have employed any use of force. In this last year, the use of force employed was taser, firearm, chemical spray, soft hand, and then the drive stun. So that's the data on that use of force in the last year. Also wanted to share with you citizens' complaint, because there was mention of a citizens oversight committee. And I think this is one piece of it, and that there's some idea that there are lots of complaints that would need to be dealt with. But in the last year, we had 22 complaints resulting in those same number of internal investigations. They involved a total of 25 officers. That was an increase of 3 complaints from the previous year, although we had quite a much larger increase in the number of calls that we had. The results from that were that 13 of those cases were unfounded, 8 were sustained, 1 was unsustained, and 9 officers were disciplined. Training just last year, Gallatin Police Department completed 7,368 hours of training. Our training division actually trained 357 events. And then I just wanted to show you finally the crime data, because I think it's very, very key and helps you understand the value of community-oriented policing. You know how much our community has grown in recent years, and for us to be able to look at a 10-year graph and see that overall that our crime has continued to go down, I think is a very, very good thing. When you look at it year to year, there are some increases, but I think that's because of the volume that we've experienced. But over that 10-year cycle, we're continuing to decrease. So I wanted to share that with you. Hoped it would give you some oversight. I hoped it would help you understand that our police department is working very, very hard, and they have been for quite some time, to be a better police department, a police department that has a presence in the community, that has trust in the community, and can work with the community. I think some of the things that people would appreciate knowing about our local police department is, for one thing, Gallatin is both CALEA and TALEA certified. Those are that's a national organization and a state organization, accrediting organization. And you may have seen mention of those in the recent executive orders from the president when he talked about the what that accreditation should require. These organizations do require that, and we are accredited by them, both at the state level and at the national level. And we're one of very few police departments in the state of Tennessee that does that. Another thing that I think that we all should be very proud of is the fact that Gallatin was one of the first to adopt the use of body cameras. And I have had many, many experiences where we have had someone call and make an allegation that something happened. And I'll call the chief, and the chief says, okay, pull the body camera, and then they'll watch it and invite the people to come see it. And that is usually the end of any situation that we have had. Because we do have body cameras. I've said many times to you all and to members of the public that I am a huge proponent of body cameras. I think they protect the public, but they also protect our officers. And I think we all feel very, very good about the use of them. I will say they are not infallible. We have not bumped into a situation yet where we didn't have some needed body cam footage, but you know, it is technology, and technology, I think, has failed us all. In certainly the last several months, we've all had that experience, whether it's within meetings or whatever. But that's just some things that I wanted to share about the police department. I don't know if Chief Bandy wants to add anything. I don't know if anyone might have any questions, but I would welcome them if you do.
I've got a comment, Mayor.
All right.
I've been in business around Gallatin for 40 plus years, and I've dealt with 5 different police departments with different instances over the years. From burglary to robbery to civil and personal damage, property damage, check fraud, and even wellness checks. Now, the 5 that I've dealt with, I'll have to say Gallatin was probably the most professional, courteous, and knowledgeable when the officer came on scene. And I think that our police department should be commended for that, and I think they're trained to the best of the ability of our police chief.
And Mayor, may I say one thing?
Of course.
I know Chief Bandy used to meet with all the clergy and different people in the community to ask questions about what we could do or what they could do to make our community better. And then I had to stop going because my work schedule changed, but I really appreciate that. And I had a lot of feedback from the community that was very impressed with that as well. So I thank Chief for that.
Yeah, I think the relationship with various sectors in the community is very, very key to the department's success. Thank you for mentioning that.
Are we ready to move on to the agenda?
Chief, anything I didn't mention that I should, or anything that I said that was incorrect?
Oh, ma'am, you did a tremendous job. Thank you. Thank you for the kind
Thank
words.
you. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, appreciate our police department. 2 other things I wanted to mention: a big thank you to the Boy Scout troop that worked at the cemetery last weekend. They did a nice job, and lots of nice compliments for them on social media. And apparently they got a lot of monuments clean, so that's exciting. And want to tell everyone that this is the last electronic meeting that we're going to be having, unless something were to change in the next few weeks. But we do not have a meeting next week because it's the 5th Tuesday of the month. And I did get a note from the comptroller's office today saying that the governor had indicated that there were no intentions of extending the allowance for electronic meetings. So we will be back together in person starting in July. That's all I would have for mayor's comments. Thank you.
I'm going to add one other thing. I can include Sumner County Sheriff's Department in that group also.
Sure, they will appreciate that as well.
Okay, we'll move on to the agenda. The first one is ordinance 02007-26. Mr. Gregory.
Yeah, this is an ordinance appropriating additional funds from the for a total amount of $3,652,676.37. That's the remaining gas system revenue bond sales series 2019. This is for additions to the existing contract 219 annual gas line construction in various areas of the city. We're supposed to spend that bond money within 2 to 3 years, and this is where we can spend it.
Motion to move it to council.
Second.
We'll have a roll call.
Absolutely. Vice Mayor Camp,
Aye.
Councilman Alexander,
Yes.
Councilman Fan,
Yes.
Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Love,
Yes.
and Councilman Overton.
Yes.
The vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
Thank you.
Second on the agenda is resolution R2007-33. Mr. McCord.
Yes, Council Mayor. This next item is a request by Sumner County to waive the surety requirement, as well as the planned development review fees for a parking lot expansion that they want to do over at the administration building off Tulip Poplar Drive.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We'll have a roll call, Ms. Skipper.
Vice Mayor Camp,
Yes.
Councilman Alexander,
Yes.
Councilman Fan,
Yes.
Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Love,
Yes.
Councilman Overton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7 to 0.
Next is resolution number 3. Well, I'm sorry, item number 3, resolution number 2007-34. Mr. McCord.
This next item is a request by the property owner for resolution by the city council to allow for use of right-of-way and also providing a hold harmless agreement. The property is on Eastland Avenue, which is right across from the depot. And the encroachment is an awning that will fit over their front entranceway and it'll encroach over the sidewalk.
We'll have a
Motion to
second.
approve.
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Skipper.
All righty. Councilman Camp,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Camp, Councilman Alexander,
Yes.
Councilman Fan,
Yes.
Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Love,
Yes.
Councilman Overton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 4 is ordinance number 02007-28. Mayor Brown and Ms. Nichols.
I get this. The Community Enhancement Committee met to listen to presentations from all the requesters for this year's budget, and they made a recommendation on the funding levels based on the total amount of funds that were included in the 2021 budget. And this resolution just moves the dollar amounts to the individual organizations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, Ms.
Looks like they're giving a good amount of money away.
If you don't mind, I would like to address it. I think most organizations were cut from what they requested But we were able to give money to everyone that did request. And it was a really good day. It was really neat to see our nonprofits come in and just appreciative that the city is still wanting to support them. We got to hear a little bit about how they were dealing with their budgets and their long-term plans, in the midst of COVID. But it was really kind of inspiring to hear all these people still enthusiastic, still working hard for our community in the various ways that their organizations serve. So we appreciate all those nonprofits. I did not have any questions from the council on any of the allocations, but if you were to have any, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay. Vice Mayor Camp,
Aye.
Councilman Alexander,
Yes.
Councilman Fan,
Yes.
Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Love,
Yes.
Councilman Overton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll move on to other business. Do we have any other business?
Yes, I have one thing. On last Saturday, Black Lives Matter, Mr. Matthew Franklin had some youth down to Key Stewart Church on Dr. Jordan Avenue. And he just wanted me to extend his thanks to the police department for their presence and participation in that activity, and thank all the other city officials that was there.
Does a lot of good with that organization.
Yeah. Matthew is a young man in the community. His father and I was classmates, so he's a chip off the old block.
Anybody else like to speak on this? Anybody have any other business?
Hey, Rachel. This is David Gregory. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're gonna bring up the ordinance for the Project Wool Hawk Utility Infrastructure.
No, I thought that was yours. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll do it.
We emailed all the council members this afternoon an ordinance to appropriate the money that Project Woolhawk donated for the utility infrastructure. And there's an ordinance, hopefully you've received your email of that will appropriate the $8,400,000 to be spent on the water lines and sewer lines.
I did. I received it and I'll make a motion to approve it.
I second that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other department heads want to speak?
Do we need a roll call on that, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we will, yeah. It wasn't on, okay.
Vice
Ms.
Mayor
Gifford?
Camp, Vice Mayor Camp,
Aye.
Councilman Alexander,
Yes.
Councilman Fan,
Yes.
Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Unmute, Craig.
Council-
Yes.
Councilwoman Love,
Yes.
Councilman Overton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
What was the ordinance number on that?
2007-28.
Thank you.
No, it was 29. I'm sorry, David, 29.
29.
29, got it.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have anybody else that wants to speak? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Y'all have a good night.
Bye, y'all take care.
See
Bye,
ya.
everybody. 2 weeks.
Bye.